You got to press something, Anna.
I did.
We got a lot to talk about, Anna.
I'm familiar with the Zoom. I'm all set up.
Yeah, you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah. Hi.
Okay. Anna's in her kitchen over there.
I am.
She's got a big, what do you call that thing, Anna?
This is a spaghetti squash. It's actually not a very big one because they're not quite in season yet, but I've had this one for a little while. I'm starting to get a little schmook on the end of it. So I got to cook it up. So I figured I would make some spaghetti squash because people are afraid of the spaghetti squash. And I figured I would show folks how to do it. I like to do a little tutorial from time to time while we're talking about some bullshit going on in the food industry, y'all.
Anna, what's schmook? You said you got some schmook.
I don't know. That's a schmooky, like it's like gross, like nasty, like a.
Folks, you could get a schmookless one at your grocery store. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know. This one actually, I microwave. By the way, you should microwave the spaghetti squash for a minute or two. This is a small one, so I just did a minute because it's really hard to put a knife through. Oh, this is breaking too. Oh, it's rotten. Okay, I'm not gonna.
I was about to say, Icarus.
That's what I was afraid of.
Pretty close to the sun. So yeah. So it doesn't look like Anna's going to be cooking that.
I'm not making spaghetti squash, but you know what I'll do instead?
Yeah, let's see. Now you see, Anna, you got to do something.
Now I want to see it.
Yeah, now you got to know. Yeah, that thing does not look good.
No, it's too smushy. I let it sit on the counter for too long. But so what Anna, I would do is cut it in half.
Yeah. And make a canoe. What are you doing?
God, I can't even get this.
You can't get the knife through it. And you have like real knives. Anna, don't cut yourself. You're about to cut yourself.
Look how gross that is.
Oh, gee.
I'm gonna throw it out.
Just throw it away.
Well, ordinarily it wouldn't be gross and it would be delightful. God, now I have a butternut squash. Maybe I'll make that. Or maybe I'll just do some ground beef and broccoli. Why don't I just do that?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Right?
I had ground beef for breakfast. I had a pound of ground beef for breakfast. Oh, that was my breakfast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I had some leafy greens with balsamic and olive oil. And then I ate a half-pound burger patty, very salty, that I did on the grill. And by me, I mean my husband grilled it for me.
Serena's out right now with Missy Langford.
Who Missy?
Missy is her friend. Missy's in the group. Missy's been around.
Well, I can turn off the oven because we're not going to roast any. Oh, wait, should I make bacon broccoli?
Bacon. Ooh, that's one of my favorites. It's in the book, folks. It's in the book.
Now I'm turning the oven back on.
Yeah.
And then I'll saute some ground beef and season it. And I'm testing out the new spicy marinara that we're about to launch. Oh, good. I do have some broccoli here. Yes. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you buy the basics, Vinny,
you're always ready.
When something goes wrong like that, you'll have something. So
you see, Anna, that's why. Look, I mean, you're improvising. You were going to make the butternut squash. You can't do that, or the spaghetti squash.
Yeah, I like to show folks about the spaghetti squash because I did the.
Now, Anna, did you wash that knife? You had that all up in the spaghetti squash.
I did.
Okay. I don't want you using it. That thing looks.
I wouldn't do that, Vinny.
Yeah, I don't want your husband to get sick.
He won't get sick because of that.
You don't know.
Have you seen what he eats?
Yeah, but yeah, you're giving bad. Look.
No,
more people get sick.
Did you not see that I washed this and then actually wiped it clean?
I wasn't paying attention.
I know. See.
Yeah.
But then you give the impression that I don't wash up after myself. I'm very clean.
I didn't mean that, Anna.
God damn you.
Calm down, Anna. She's making florets right now, folks.
I'm cutting the crown. I only have one crown left to take the crown the other night. So here's the thing. I found this article in a publication called Technology Review. And luckily I read the whole thing and then I sent it to you because I said, we're going to talk about this on Monday. And some of it's about patent issues. So that part I'm not as concerned about.
Right.
But what really got to me was, so we talked about the NSNG 101s. And by the way, somebody just posted in the Facebook group, am I allowed to have, like cabbage or and squash and things like that? And I was like, you need to go listen to these Friday shows that Vinny and I did.
Yeah.
And NSNG 101 and 101 part 2.
There's I'm not a diet, folks. You're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. but there's consequences to everything. So, you
Right.
have to pick and choose.
Right.
I'm not you're not allowed this. That's Jenny Craig. Okay. That's Weight Watchers.
And a recipe for failure, because people feel like,
I've been in this business for 40 years. There's nothing you're not allowed. You just have to make more good decisions than bad. And I know that something came up in a group the other day where a guy was like, hey, even Vinnie puts a low LIL, life into living, and all that kind of stuff. And
right.
I know there was a brouhaha about it because it came to my attention. So it must have been a brouhaha.
I'm not familiar with that particular brouhaha, but it doesn't surprise me. So I cut these into smaller florets because I want them to cook evenly. So we talk about the artificial sugars and the sugar substitutes. And people like to argue with me online who are really attached to having these things, because I say in my book, if I'm going to make a dessert, I actually use a real sugar. And yes, it will affect your liver. And no, you should not make this unless it's for a special occasion, or, you know what I mean? This is not even a once a week type of thing. For example, this year, I have had cheesecake with my husband on our anniversary on February 5th.
Right.
And other than a couple of bites of 85 or 90% dark chocolate, nothing. So now I'm being really strict for a reason right now. I probably would have had more things, but since Christmas Eve, that's my one life into living that I've had, is on our anniversary. So that's the idea of like, I don't know. You have to live your life. I'm choosing to do this the way I'm doing it. But the thing is that I do have dessert chapters, and then people want to use the erythritol and the monk fruit and the what's the other ones? The allulose and the
some people think honey is fine. Honey's not sugar.
Honey is sugar, and I use it in dessert recipes. Not often, because I don't care for the taste of honey. So I'm very particular.
Right, but the point is
but it's real sugar.
Everyone thinks that there's a healthier version of sugar. There is no agave, there is no honey, there is no erythritol or monk fruit. It is all sugar, and
I'd rather see
the sugar alcohol. So it's all crap. It's all crap.
And it's not
xylitol. It's another one.
Yeah, I mean honey, but they think because it's natural, or the worst one that's like a big lie. It's just table sugar with a little bit of molasses on it. It's the turbinado cane sugar. Yeah,
I was going to mention that whenever you go to like Smoothie King in some parts of the country, or Jamba Juice in other parts of the country, you'll go, oh no, it's a protein shake. Well, it tastes very sweet. Oh yeah, that comes from the turbinado. Turbinado, folks, is sugar. It's just a different name for sugar. It's all just, if you saw turbinado, you'll go, oh my God, that's brown granulated sugar. Brown sugar. Just like a younger should, y'all. Yeah.
So the fake sugars, I don't do them. I can't tolerate them. The few times I've had them, I've gotten so sick that I'm not, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, so I'm not going to repeat all the stories and the things. So this article came to my attention because it was about a patent war over new sugars, because the food industry knows they haven't gotten it right yet. And I also want to give this caveat. I don't think there's anything wrong with innovation in food. Like, they should be innovating stuff. There are always going to be people who cannot have, like type 1 diabetics.
You don't have, Anna, you shouldn't even have to do that caveat. Let's just talk about.
I know, but it's really hard to talk about things because people lose their people are y'all.
I don't care about people losing their shit.
They're losing their shit too much.
I don't care who's losing. I don't care. I don't care. Okay. You want to lose your shit? Do it on your time.
But here's the thing. So it's a patent war about new sugars. And by the way, this is happening right down the street from you, literally right down the street from you. So I was like, oh my God, how funny. I said, maybe he could go and do a little old fashioned activism. Just kidding.
Really?
That's a joke. Don't sue us, Big Sugar.
You know what? I could go down there with my sign.
You could pee on the building like you peed on Starbucks.
I did. Yeah, folks, if you're new to this show, I did pee on a Starbucks once.
And they had it coming.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I had to go to the bathroom very, very badly. And I walked in and I said, because in California, you have homeless people everywhere, and they lock the bathrooms. You go into a Starbucks, the bathroom.
Not anymore. This is before that whole Michigan about the whole thing, and now they don't lock the bathrooms.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah. Now they don't lock the bathrooms because something happened. There was like a lawsuit or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
it wasn't you, and it wasn't because you peed on the Starbucks.
it should have been. So I was down near Venice Beach, and there are literally people literally pulling their wangs out, women dropping trowel and crapping on sidewalk. I mean, you got to understand, it's California. You think California is a bunch of hot blondes on rollerblades down at the beach in their bikini? Go down there. You're going to be pleasantly or unpleasantly shocked. So I was leaving the marina, and when you get older, you got to go to the bathroom. You got to go. And I'm in the middle of a city. I can't just pull over and find a tree without getting arrested. So I mean, I'm at wit's end. I luckily find a parking spot, and it's like the gods are with me. So now, as I'm walking into the Starbucks, your brain goes to locked and loaded. I'm going to be peeing in a couple of seconds, right? So now
you're ready to go.
Yeah, you're right. So now it's going to come out. It's coming out. I don't have a choice. Yeah. And I grabbed the door, and the guy goes, "It's locked." I said, "Can I have the code?" He goes, "You have to buy a coffee." I said, "Look, I'll buy a coffee. Open it. I got to go really badly. Start pouring me a coffee. I'll pay for it. You got to buy the coffee first." I said, "Listen, please, I have to go to the bathroom now." Yeah, I'm embarrassing myself. There's other people in the store. I'm talking over people going, "Please, sir, please open this bathroom. Give me the code. And I'll buy a coffee." No, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So I went, "All right, I'm good." And I even told him, I said, "Look, my dog is in the car. It's hot." I had Stella with me in the car. It was before Bonzo was around. I said, I don't want to leave my dog in the car. Please help me. Please help me. And when someone is saying, "Please help me," okay, please help me. What the fuck is wrong with people? I know I'm using the F word a lot today, but damn it, it's like I'm in need here. You can see I'm not a bum. You can see I'm a guy of some means. I at least have a job. I'm clean shaven. I'm well dressed. What have you, right? And the guy's just treating me like just a common, asshole that, So, all right. I walked outside, and just like the homeless people, I dropped trowel and I peed on Starbucks. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care who came. If a cop had come along, I would have said, "Sir, I'm doing this because I have a condition. My condition is I'm so old that I can't hold my pee any longer." And that asshole wouldn't let me use a perfectly good bathroom.
Yeah. By the way, this happened to me right outside 24 Hour Fitness a couple of years ago, like during pandemic, or no, right before pandemic. And I was like, but the difference is, and I was so tempted to just pee right in front and drop trowel, but I was like, someone would film my naked ass peeing, and it would go on the internet. And then they'd be like, "Oh, I know her. She's on podcast."
Yeah. She's on Kimmel every now and then. That girl, she plays Siri in Kimmel. Look,
I feel your pain. And I was literally like, the irony that I paid for 24 Hour Fitness for 10 years. And it was like literally a couple months after we stopped because we moved where there wasn't a 24 Hour Fitness. So I was like, the bathroom's right there. I'm not going to walk through the gym and like use the equipment and like, I'm going to use your shit. It's right there. Yeah. And she was like, "No." I was like, "Okay." I was literally almost about to pee my pants. And I know that feeling. Every woman out there knows the feeling that you're talking about.
Well, I was beyond. Look, people here, like every time I go to the shooting club in the morning, the old guys, they want to be regaled with LA stories,
Right.
So they want to, it's like, so
not glamorous, folks.
Yeah. And, no, but they want to hear my crazy stories. I told one the other day, you'll remember this one. I had so many 24-hour fitness stories that, we could fill 20 podcasts with.
I know.
24-hour fitness
story.
Story.
Remember I used to do,
the guy
from the sauna.
Okay. I thought about you the other day. Let me skip my story and go to your story for a second. Remember you told me you had the ninja guy in the thing with the knife?
He was practicing his knife skills.
Yeah.
He was because he was like a stunt man in the sauna. Another guy was shaving in the sauna, and he was like shaving, and then he went flap. Like, by the way, this is men and women in the same, like, shaving. And then of course the people spitting loogies in the sauna, the people using the sauna as like their personal like drying rack, they like hang all their clothes up as if people don't need to go in there. And you're supposed to be barefoot in the sauna, and there's people just spitting all over the floor. It's so gross.
No, 24 Hour Fitness got so bad at one point.
Disgusting.
And I thought about that because someone was in a 24 Hour Fitness the other day and got stabbed in one. Yeah. I went, oh, it must have been.
Was it that guy?
I don't know. You used to tell me about the guy practicing knife skills and the thing. It's like, obviously someone got stabbed. So
with a knife, what happens if he's so sweaty, his knife flies out of his hand and stabs somebody?
There should be no knife play in the sauna, bottom line. So, one of my favorite stories was I was in my 24-hour fitness and I'm getting ready to get undressed. And I noticed this guy casually sitting on a bench. I noticed him when I walked in, he's just sitting on the bench. He's not changing. And sometimes people get really hot and this and that and the whole thing. They'll sit for a minute and kind of collect themselves. But this guy is just dressed, right? And he's sitting on a bench and he's holding a phone up in a precarious position. And I thought to myself, is that guy filming people or?
No.
So I went over to my locker, but then I looked back and it's like, and then I noticed that, like the phone was facing me. It was trained on me now because I took my shirt off and I'm getting ready to take my pants off. Right. And I look and he's like looking in the lens, right? He's keeping it trained on me. And I went, hey man, what are you doing there? Let me see that phone. And he looked up from the phone and ran out of there. He just skedaddled out of the locker room. And I didn't want to chase him because my locker was open. My wallet is there. Everything. I don't want to leave anything. So I changed. I got dressed. I went out to the front and I said to the guy at the front desk, I said, hey, look, there was a guy back there. Now I said, can I see a manager? Yeah. What would you like? I'm the manager. I said, yeah, okay. This guy back there. And he was filming people and he goes, dark hair. I went, yeah. Scraggly kind of beard. I went, oh, you know the guy? Because that was the guy. He goes, yeah, he does that. I went, oh, okay. So you know that he does this. And
they don't care.
They don't care that Anna can't take a leak, right? But this guy can just be in there and you guys aren't going to kick him out of the club? Are you insane? This guy's back there committing a felony. Yeah. And you guys are like, oh yeah, that's that old pervert kid. I mean, he's just blah, 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 blah. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. When you tell these stories to the people here, they're like, have a million stories. Yeah. I could do, like I said, we could pack 20 shows with stuff that happened to us at 24 Hour Fitness.
Well, if you think about the folks, at least who are, I'm not talking about the people who are in LA who are necessarily natives who don't, I'm talking about the people who go to LA to work in entertainment, and they're all aspects of the entertainment industry. And people go there from their other places, and their whole attitude is, I'm going to go and make my way here so I can get the fuck out of here and go somewhere else. Right. So they don't care how badly they treat people or how, you know what I mean? Because they're just trying to get what's theirs so then they can make a name for themselves and get out. And of course, you and I know after being there for so many decades that that's not how it works. That's not how careers are made. And those kind of people generally, sink in their own shit and wind up going back to wherever, goodbye, leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, or the people like you and I who had fairly nice careers and then we're like, all right, I don't think I need to deal with that anymore. But it's like, it's bad behavior on every level, and it's kind of exacerbated by that, like, I'm in it for me kind of thing with the entertainment industry. But yeah, no, I could tell a lot more. Yeah,
maybe over the next couple of months.
Stories of bad behavior. That's kind of fun. I forgot about Tales from the Sauna. I just couldn't. I don't even think I could go into one of their saunas now. It would gross me out so much because I think there's a little bit of pandemic that made me a little extra germophobic that I probably put up with a lot more before I realized how probably dirty everything.
I got rid of all these pictures because my phone was full of pictures, but I took pictures and put them up online at one point because one of the 24 Hour Fitnesses I went to, there was just towels, there's towel service, and
they're towel
everywhere, and you it was like all over the floor, and just everywhere, and just messed up, and just crap everywhere, and it's like,
y'all wear shower shoes. You got to bring your flip flops or your shower shoes.
Oh, I never took shoes off. I would just
you cannot be barefoot.
Keep my shoes on, just pull new shorts.
You need sauna shoes / shower shoes.
Yeah, I would never shower and going no.
So anyway, back to Big Sugar.
Yeah.
So they know they haven't gotten it right yet. They're doing some things but they know how sick we are as a nation, right? With the overconsumption of processed carbohydrates and sugars and grains. They understand this. So they're still, but they know that like what they've made so far doesn't quite do it. So they're still trying to invent new sugars. And one of them is called Tagatose, another ose. And by the way, if you see an ose on a label, you probably want to avoid it. Dextrose, allulose,
lactose, allulose.
So
sugar.
So Tagatose they're working on, and because Tagatose is the new thing, somebody has the patent on it. So it went into a little bit about the patent, and then finally at the end of the article, it talks about how, well, first of all, it's saying this is the new sugar that's going to sweep the nation, that's going to prevent our diabetes. And I was like, isn't that an oxymoron, having a sugar prevent diabetes? That's not physically possible, right? Because isn't type 2 diabetes caused by an excess of sugar? So anyway, by the end of it, they say that Tagatose, which occurs in very tiny amounts naturally in a few things.
Let me read this, Anna. Tagatose is a hexose monosaccharide. It's found in small quantities in a variety of foods and has attracted attention as an artificial sweetener, as you just said. It is often found in dairy products because it's formed when milk is heated. It's similar in texture and appearance to sucrose, table sugar.
It's frankenfood. It's basically a sucrose that they say will not raise your blood sugar as much as sucrose.
Okay.
Then they go on to say by the end of the article that the side effects are exactly what's already happening with the erythritol and the intestinal distress. It still does raise your blood sugar a little bit. But they're literally investing billions, and I believe it's the Hershey company that bought it, and then they are working at a plant, and there's all these patent wars. Someone's coming from this company and that company.
Can I continue here? Consumption of more than about 30 grams of Tagatose in a dose, 30 grams, folks. Think about how small of amount of sugar that is when you consider like a Coca-Cola has 38 to 40 grams of sugar. So even less than what you get from a Coke will cause gastric disturbance, and mostly and most of it happens in your large intestine. So it's a colon blow.
It's a colon blow. Okay, wait, really quick. Speaking of colon blow, we've got the bacon and broccoli here. I drizzled some Cappelli olive oil. I put the bacon over it, salt, pepper. I sprinkled some fresh lemon juice on there. And I did some garlic powder and onion powder, just a little extra flavor. And I sprinkled some pinoli on there. So I'm going to put this in at 400 and do that. And then I'm going to start the beef. But this sugar thing, I want a different pan. This sugar thing to me is so crazy. So they have these sugars, right, Ben, that don't even work well. And then they're making another sugar. They're investing billions into it because they know that Americans cannot get off the sugar, and they will instead buy something with a fake sugar because that's how attached to their sweet treats everybody is. And it makes me feel really sad, and it makes me feel like impotent in the sense that, like, I know we're trying to get a message out here, and is anybody even listening?
Right.
I do. I feel like shit sometimes when I read that stuff, and I go, they're going to sink bill. It was like how I felt when I read about the Wegovy injection. And I know we were going to talk about another injectable thing for type 2 diabetes. And I get it. I understand doctors don't have patients that are compliant. They might suggest diet and lifestyle changes, but for the most part, people will not comply and do diet. They want to just have a drug. And then I'm like, well, why are we even doing this? Sorry to bring it down, but I feel that way sometimes. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? How come they get billions of dollars? And I'm like trying to tell people to make something with real food.
Anna, one night
we're just small potatoes compared to them,
One night I was huddled up in a bar with one Nina Teichels.
Yep.
And we were having a drink.
Yep.
I think it was probably, it would have been the best podcast. You know, it's like people wonder, what do you talk about with Nina when the mics aren't on?
Oh, I would like to hear that.
Yeah, and we were drinking, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
And we started in on, are we, you know, what are we doing? Are we making a difference at all? You know, all we do is get, you know, ostracized and told that we're charlatans and we're horrible people. And,
right.
You know, we don't get paid to do this. You know, sure, she wrote a best-selling book and I've written.
Yeah. 5-6 years ago. But I mean, it's like,
yeah, you know,
like,
by the way, go get her book, folks.
It's an amazing book, but it's not, you know, you sell a book. It's nice. It's a nice residual little check, but it's not going to pay the mortgage.
We sit there and go, okay, why do we take shit for, you know, all we did was told we write books. She was got surprised. As a matter of fact, her book might be one of the most prolific books on the subject because she goes through all the science that says otherwise and say, hey, this is why that science was wrong.
And she gets eviscerated all the time online. It drives me nuts.
Constantly. I mean, one of the vegan doctors I wanted to have in my last movie, Beyond Impossible, he started calling Megan, not calling, but sending her emails going, and you're going to have that crazy woman, Nina Teichels, in you? No, Nina Teichels is one of the most sane people I know. And she never tells anything except the truth. She doesn't make stuff up.
Right. Yet,
good luck. Good luck being Nina Teichels.
Right.
It's really sad.
Well, I don't mean to bitch and moan, but sometimes when I read these things, I'm like, well, here we go again. But I guess that's why we have this podcast, so we can tell y'all when they came out with the Tagatose, which they will, and they're going to call it whatever they're going to name it. They're going to name it some fancy name. You're going to go, well, this isn't sugar. It has Tagatose in it, or whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to be like, no, don't eat that unless you really like to crap your pants.
Yeah.
Which maybe some people do. I don't know.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's what they do. They're coming out with another version of what doesn't work. It's another Me Too product.
Yes.
You know,
basically,
hey, look at us. Me too. Look at me. We came up with another allulose. We came up with another crap. You know, folks, look, if it worked, I would tell you to do it. I don't have skin in that game. I don't have skin in any game. I am here telling people how to get healthy. I don't care if you do or not. I'm hoping you will. I want to see everyone do better, because when everyone does better, maybe insurance can, you know, go down a bit. Maybe, you know, we could be a healthier nation next time a pandemic comes along. Not as many people will die, and on and on and on. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, we looked at a lot of the deaths. There was old people and, you know, people who were morbidly obese. What does morbidly obese mean? You have to think about what that term means. If you're morbidly obese, you have comorbidities that if you get something such as a flu or pneumonia or something where you might be able to beat it otherwise, it's a comorbidity. You can end up in a hospital and find yourself in the morgue. I hate to be that guy, but that's the facts. That's what we're talking about. And as you get older and you're morbidly obese, it becomes more and more complicated. I have family members, loved ones that are on somewhere between 4 and 7 medications. You think about that, 7 medications a day. I can't even, I don't even know what that means. You know, it's like, I couldn't imagine living on 7.
Do you remember when we started this podcast 11 years ago, and you went home to Donaldsonville and y'all did the Fortune, and y'all did the blue, you didn't do the blue ass, but other folks did the blue ass.
Let's explain to the new audience what that is. I grew up in a small town in southern Louisiana called Donaldsonville. Think Mayberry, except smaller. And everyone loves everyone there. Everyone's
Mayberry,
happy.
but more daiquiris.
Yeah. And so my cousins, the Jardinas, the happiest people on the planet. I wish I had less Tortorich in me and more Jardina. The Tortoriches are kind of, you know, they're like me. They're get off my lawn people. You know, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. You know, we're all like Mickey from Rocky. It's like
right.
we're all a bit curmudgeon-y, and look, online they call me Gran Torino. We're that people. But my mom's side of the family, anyone who's heard my mom on the show, she's a Giardina. The Giardinas are just, everything in their life is
delightful people.
It's like happy Italian music. Follow these people behind them. They have like a 3-piece band going playing
the tarantella.
Yeah, yeah, and I've never, and it's my cousins. They're like my sisters, Lori, Natalie. They're 2 sisters. It's like Rosanna Dana just walked into the room, and they walk in. They walk in yelling. And
I want you to see this grease. I want you to see this grease.
Oh, look at that!
Can you see it? I am not allowed to bring the tray to the computer since I poured meat juices on the computer one time when we were podcasting.
Yeah, there's a moratorium. Her husband is tired of buying new computers.
Yeah.
So at any rate,
I'm leaving this grease in here, y'all.
The Giardinas do something called porching, or they call it poaching, because that's how they talk in the South. They poach.
Which I'm a huge fan of poaching.
Yeah. What happens is on Fridays, they're done with work. They're all school teachers. They're principals and the whole thing. The 2 sisters have houses side by side and the whole thing. And their front porches are opened up. People come with, the fold out tables and everything. And they bring, potluck. They'll bring 7-layer dips. They'll bring crawfish. They might boil crawfish out there. It's a big Cajun wing ding. And they will do this every week in the spring and summer. If it's not cold and rainy outside, they're out there poaching.
Right. That's awesome.
I never, because I'm Mr. Stick in the Mud. There's nothing for me there. And I'm never home anyway, but
but you don't go by and say hello?
No, because I'm never around on a Friday night. Whenever I would fly into town from LA, I'd kind of fly in last minute, see my mom and dad, say hi, and get on the plane and get back. Or I was always on my way to something else or whatever. But it just so happens I got there on a Thursday or something, and Friday came along, and we were talking about the Giardinas because they live right next door. And my mom goes, "Well, they're poaching tonight." And I went, "Oh,
Vinnie, they're poaching tonight."
Yeah. And I went, you know what? I'm going to go by. I'm going to go by there and say hi because, I can see all of my relatives all at once. Well, as it turns out, there was probably 40 or 50 people there. I mean, this is any given Friday night. This is what these people do. It's a lot of love down there. It's like people on the river are just so happy to give. They wrote songs about this. And this is right on the Mississippi River, by the way. Delicious, right, Anna?
It's so good.
I'm starving right now. I got to watch you do this. It's killing me.
It's a very fatty cut of grass fed. And I get the salt and pepper and onion powder, garlic powder. Now I'm going to pour the spicy marinara over it. Just have that and bacon broccoli.
Yeah. God.
It's so good.
Serena went out with, like I said, she went out with this woman tonight, and I got to make a steak after this. So at any rate, I said I can go see all my relatives. There's people I haven't seen since I left town when I was 18.
Right.
And of course, I can't recognize everyone because when you gain 100, 150 pounds, you may not look the same as you looked when you were of normal weight back in 1981, and this was 10 years ago. So, So
you were 48 or 49.
Yeah. No, I think I just turned 50. And
now I am 48 going on 49.
I think I just turned 50 at this point. So it was about a year into the show. Maybe I was 49.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you hadn't turned 50 yet.
And everybody was like, "Hey, Vinnie, oh my God, Vinnie's here." But because I'm never there, right? So I'm there, and they're all drinking something called Blue Ice. That's what they called it, Blue Ice. It was a daiquiri place down the street.
Blue Ice.
It sounded like they were saying ass, blue ass. And people kept running down to the daiquiri. It wasn't like they didn't have a couple of kegs of beer and everything else there, and there was other alcohol, but they were drinking these big giant daiquiris, which is, a big giant cup of sugar and alcohol. This is it, right? And
it was blue, so it had blue food coloring too.
Yeah, and they kept saying, "You want some blue ice? You want some blue ice?" And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm do sugar. Like, you got to get something to drink. And I spotted a vodka bottle, and you know, because I'm not really into drinking, you know, I'll have a scotch.
You're not a big vodka guy, too.
No, but I spotted something that I can have. So I threw some vodka in the thing. I put a wedge in there of like lime, and I filled it up with soda water. And so now I had something so that people can stop saying, "Oh, let me get you a beer. Let me get you some blue ass," you know, and the whole thing. And then once they finished asking me, you know, one by one, so how's your life? You know, what's LA like? And, you know, Serena, tell us about Serena and all this kind of stuff, you know. And at one point, slowly as the night went on, they started asking me, so how many medications are you on? And I was like, well, medications, like how many, then you keep yourself in pretty good shape, man. You must still be running and riding that bike. Oh yeah, I do all that. Go to the gym. How many medications? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, look at that, Anna. Is it ready?
I like to mix. It pretty much is. I do like to mix it up once, but I forgot to do that halfway through. But I'm going to put it back in. I turned the heat down. I'll put it back in for a few minutes. Go ahead. Medication.
Yeah, I like it crispy. I like when we do it.
Me too. Me too.
And I went,
but you see, the little florets get that bacon grease on it, and they get all crispy on the end. You don't want to burn it though. No. But if you do burn it, it's burned bacon. There's worse things in life.
Yeah, you can't hurt bacon. No. So they were asking me, it's like, what do you take, like metformin? Do you take, what do you take for cholesterol? You're on statin. You know, I take a this, I take a that. Almost everyone I talked to who was my age, who I grew up with, were on somewhere between 3 and 5 medications. And I was shocked by this. It was like, who's on 5 medications? I never heard that. I was confused by this information because, you know, by and large, I was living in a bubble in California. My clients were all, you know, celebrity types who look a certain way and perform a certain way. I didn't know anyone taking, you know, the most anything anyone would take was a lot of the comedians take Adderall, you know.
Yeah,
pretty much, you know. So I knew people took those kind of medications around me, Adderall. What's the other ones they take? If you have OCD, they take a drug. I don't know. So
not proplanopol. That's the.
I don't know.
What's the beta blocker that a lot of my writer friends when they have to pitch, they take a beta blocker. It was originally intended as a heart medication, but it keeps you from having panic attacks.
But you know, these are almost recreational drugs for these people, so they can be better at their jobs. And these people were on 4 and 5 and 6 drugs, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And I got in trouble because I came and did a podcast on that. If you guys go back and find the old podcast, you would hear the original. I'm paraphrasing right now, but I told.
And I was shocked too because I was 10 years younger than you. So what you were saying was like they're all on the medication. Like I was not familiar either, and now I am your age that you were then, and everyone's starting to slowly take the statin and take the metformin. And you know what I mean? The things are happening, and I'm gonna let this sizzle.
Yeah, it's not good, folks. It's and that's what made me even more passionate about this because, you know, it's weird. You know, I left that town when I was 18, and by and large, I never really went back. You know, and whenever I'd see my relatives or anything, it was holiday time, and it was all happy talk. Hey, Vinnie, it's good to see you. Hey, whoa, hey, look at you. You know, kind of punch on the arm and hug and kiss, and you know, everything is nice and easy. It was like this weird thing where I hung around long enough, and people got drunk enough around me, and since I wasn't really drinking, I was, you know, they started telling me stuff, you know, they started. Yeah,
that's where you hear all the things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was just shocked by it. And I got in a lot of trouble. I came back and did a podcast on it. And I was the most hate because no one there knew what a podcast was. And someone had heard it and they told everyone else, yeah, there's something called a podcast. And it's like all over the internet, worldwide. He's talking about us and what an asshole. And then people started listening to the podcast, and a lot of them became, oh my God, what he's saying is the truth. He's not being mean. He was just being factual. I didn't use anyone's name. I think I used Moose's name at some point because, and I think his family got upset because, well, I took him to a strip joint or something. I can't remember. But I wouldn't have gone to a strip joint. You know, my buddy JD was there, and JD, you know, when he's around, I end up at a strip joint, and that's.
I feel like you needed to take Moose to the strip joint.
Yeah, Moose doesn't see a lot of strange.
From what I hear, Moose needs to go to the strip joint.
Everything is strange to Moose, to be honest with you. He's had some physical issues in his life, and he doesn't get out much, and he's never been married, never really had a girlfriend. You know, just a super nice guy, and very smart, very, very good guy, but you know, just plagued with you know, he had 2 brain surgeries when he was a kid. He's, you know, a bit delicate, and you know, he's done a good job. You know, he takes care of his dad until his dad died, and now he's taking care of his mom, and he's just a good all around guy. But the family, churchgoers, they didn't want to hear that Moose went to a strip joint with the heathen, you know.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I'm not a strip joint guy. I went because of JD, and I'm pretty sure JD is not a strip joint guy. He thinks that's where I want to go. You know, so it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy for all of us. And we just went there and had a drink. It wasn't like we were there throwing dollar bills or whatever you do at the stage, you know.
Making it rain.
Making it rain. I don't believe in making it rain. You know, it's
this is definitely done.
Look at that.
Sizzling.
Yeah.
I don't want to pour anything on the computer.
It's like a mukbang of sizzling over there. Yeah. So at any rate, I got in a lot of trouble for that.
Can you hear that sizzle?
Yeah, I can. Not anymore. It's gone away now. So Anna, you brought up something to me before the show. You want to talk about the Ozempic thing and what's going on in Beverly Hills?
Well, Beverly Hills. So a friend of mine texts me and says, you have to bring this up with Vinnie. And in Beverly Hills, there's a whole network of doctors where you go in and it's $900 for the visit, and they give you Ozempic, which I believe is an injectable, but I'm not sure. You probably know more about Ozempic. And then you said, oh, we talked about that one. I was like, no, we talked about Jardiance and Skyrizi, but we've never talked about Ozempic. I was like, there are a long list of these things. And she said the doctor said to her, because she just went in for thyroid stuff, she said the doctor said to her, nobody ever has to be overweight again. Give me $900. We'll do the Ozempic, and you just keep coming back for that, and then you'll be fine.
So is it $900 every time?
The visit, yeah. I don't know if you get Ozempic every time, but every time you see this doctor, you're paying $900. They figured out with the rich folks to do that whole concierge thing, you know?
Yeah. Most of my clients.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah. So Ozempic folks, I'm going to play an ad.
Look at this.
Here's a television ad.
There's your bachelor chili made with the spices.
Man. Look at that. And what are you going to do with Anna, what are you going to do with the, you're going to pour the
I'm going to put the broccoli on top of it. I'm not going to eat. I'm not super hungry right this second, but now I am that I see the food. Lauren, do you want this tray of food? Okay.
Yeah.
He just magically appeared as I was plating this.
Anna, why can't I be married to you? Why does that loser get to be married to you?
It wasn't in the cards.
Oh.
There we go. I'm going to put some parm on that.
I would be eating that tonight. Meanwhile, Serena's like, yeah, I'm out with a friend. I'm out with Missy Langford. You get around to making your food. It's like, honey,
I'm feel like she makes you a lot of food.
3 podcasts in a row here. She's like, yeah, when you're done with those podcasts, you go ahead and make yourself that steak. So
here you go.
You know, here's what I get, Anna. She goes out and buys me a steak and then brings it home, throws it in the fridge and goes, okay, when you're done working all day, just go ahead and whip that steak up. Get yourself all lathered up for that steak. Meanwhile, you're doing a podcast and you're still cooking and your husband's in the next room going, yeah, I guess I'll eat something delicious. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, you got bacon over chili with,
I don't think I would be able to cook on a podcast unless I was a cookbook / recipe person. Like that would be really weird if I just was there cooking.
Just like, all right, let me just throw this out there. You can say no, right? But let me just float it.
Okay.
When we're in Austin.
Yeah.
Can we pretend we're husband and wife?
I'm cooking for you?
Yeah.
I could just cook for you. I cook for other people, you know.
Yeah, well, like, I don't know where you would cook. We can.
I'm cooking at Austin.
Yeah, can I eat it on stage? That'll be my thing. You just cook and I'll just.
In fact, I can't do. By the way, you could do this dairy free, but I'm gonna put some parm on there. I can't. I'm making chicken parm, and I can't serve it to people on the cooking demo because of the health regulations.
But
you can eat it on stage. Right? Yeah, totally.
All right, bring it up on stage. I'm going to eat on stage. That'll be my thing. It'll be performance art. I'll just eat, and everybody can watch me eat, and then I'll just belch and get up and leave.
This is basically like your bachelor chili.
Yeah.
But then I topped it with the.
Oh, you're going to eat in front of me? You bitch. Okay, so let me get back to
so good.
They have an ad out there. So here's the ad. I'm going to play the whole ad. I'm going to stop it towards the end and comment on a few things. But here goes, folks.
People with type 2 diabetes are excited about the potential of once-weekly Ozempic. In a study with Ozempic, a majority of adults lowered their blood sugar and reached an A1C of less than 7 and maintained it.
Oh, okay, let me stop right there. Okay, lowering your A1C to less than 7 means you're still type 2 diabetic. You will be type 2 diabetic until you're below 5.6, not 5.6, but below 5.6. So just like when we did the other one, what was the other one called? Metformin, same kind of ad. I think we did Ozempic before too. I don't know why I think that, but
no, because it's the same type of drug.
Yeah, it's all the same drug, different names. And by the way,
go ahead.
They could have done an Italian thing here. They could have gone with the type. They didn't have to go with the.
They missed an opportunity to brand.
Big opportunity. They could have gotten Fonzie in there. But let's continue on.
Hold on. Let me just tell you something real quick. Yeah, Lauren Tarquinio just walked in the room and he looked at the bowl and then he goes, "You didn't make the dip." That's what he said.
Screw him. I hate him. I secretly.
To be fair, he did go get the ingredients from the store specifically that I would make it for him. So I will make the dip now, the ranch dip.
Oh God.
Okay. He wants his red bell peppers and ranch dip.
And what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong?
Where's the sour cream? There it is.
I keep thinking, if
he keeps going, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong?
What's my girlfriend's name? Lois. If she leaves Milo, and
if she leaves Milo Ventimiglia, and
can she cook? She can cook, I bet.
Yeah, she can cook. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. She's a
great woman. I got my new girlfriend who wants to come on a podcast, by the way, Rena.
Oh, good. I want to talk to her.
Are you Walia? Next week we're going to have her on the Monday show.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Why not? So, man, if I could get those two girls together and keep Serena, why can't I just move to Utah and have
you need sister wives?
Yeah, I need a few of them. Let's go back to this ad.
Okay.
And you may lose weight. In the same 1-year study, adults lost on average up to 12 pounds.
Oh, up to 12 pounds.
Okay. A whole year, 12 pounds. Up to 12 pounds, right? And by the way, they say you may lose weight. This is not a fait accompli, number one. And in a year, 12 pounds. So that's 1 pound a month. Congratulations. Most people have 100 pounds to lose, but okay.
A 2-year study showed that Ozempic does not increase the risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attack, stroke, or death.
Oh, no increased risk.
Ozempic should...
Okay, no increased risk. You're already at risk if you're morbidly obese.
Right.
But no increased risk over that. So for 2 years, by the way, a 2-year study, we don't know what's going to happen down the road, but go on.
Not be the first medicine for treating diabetes or for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not share needles or pens. Don't reuse needles. Do not take Ozempic if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Ozempic. Stop taking.
If you're allergic.
How do you know you're allergic to it unless you take it?
Yeah, they're covering their ass left, right, and center. Now they're going to probably get into all the death and dying here. This is the part of the commercial when they usually get into death and dying. So they've sold you on, hey, we can lower your A1Cs artificially to keep you perfectly sick, because being below 7 is still perfectly sick. So the drug is not going to accomplish that. Number two, you might lose 12 pounds. We don't know. Neither here nor there. You might lose 12 pounds, right?
But they can't legally commit to it in case you don't.
Yeah. So now here we go.
Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, itching.
Okay. A lump or swelling in your neck. That's the first side effect. Hey, listen, folks, you might lose 10, 12 pounds. We don't know, neither here nor there.
You'll gain it right here in your neck.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're going to get a lump in your neck. And if that happens.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, it might look like a goiter. It might be, we don't know. It'll show up. It might not show up. That's the first thing they're telling you. All right, let's go on.
Rash or trouble breathing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis.
Wait, hang on. Anna, I'm going to go back a little bit here.
Pancreatitis sounds pretty serious.
Wait.
I know it's not.
Anna.
Is it that inflammation of the pancreas, which is what you already have if you're type 2 diabetic?
Hang on. Notice, they say you might get a lump in your neck and you may have trouble breathing. Something we all tend to like to do. And then they get into the serious side effect. Trouble breathing to these people is not a serious side effect. Are you following along, folks? Hey,
that doesn't sound good.
Hey, listen, you're going to get a lump on your neck. It's neither here nor there. You're going to probably have trouble breathing. Don't worry about it. Now, let's get into the serious side effect. I want you guys to hear this again because, you see, I'm the only one who listens to this. Everyone else goes, 10, 12 pounds. What?
Yeah, they stop. You had me at 10, 12 pounds.
I can maybe lower my A1Cs from 11 to maybe 7. I can still be perfectly sick. It's not that you're less sick, folks. And by the way, it's artificially lowered because of the drug, right? You're not less sick. You're still type 2 diabetic. If you stay at 7, you're going to still have to have a limb chopped off. You let it go long enough. Watch my first movie. We show a limb coming off. Now, let's listen again, Anna. Listen carefully.
Or trouble breathing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. Tell your doctor if you have diabetic retinopathy or vision changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase the risk for low blood sugar. Common side effects.
Okay.
Are you going to lose your vision?
No, the only reason someone would be taking insulin anyway is because they're having type 2 diabetes.
Right.
So this drug, by the way, does not, according to them, does not work with insulin. Let's go back and listen. People go, why do you do that? Listen, folks, I listen to this stuff. Here we go.
Retinopathy or vision changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase the risk for low blood sugar. Common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and constipation. Some side effects can lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
I discovered the potential with Ozempic.
If eligible, you may pay as little as $25 per prescription. Ask your healthcare provider today about once-weekly Ozempic.
Okay. Folks, did you hear what's going on?
That's crazy.
It's lunacy. It's just nuts. And hey, and by the way, you're going to still be sick. You're going to still be sick. We're going to make you sicker. We're going to give you other things.
Right.
This drug does nothing. Nothing. It makes you sicker. Because when I was talking, let's go back to Donaldsonville. When I was talking to those people that were on 5 and 6 drugs, some of the drugs they were on was to counteract a different drug that they were on.
Right.
Is this just me being insane? Am I insane?
No.
People go, oh, come on, Vinnie. Not everybody can be you. No, I'm not asking you to be me. I'm not asking you to be me. Here's the other one we played the other day. I'm just going to let this one play.
Who's on it with Jardiance? We're 25 million prescriptions strong.
We're managing type 2 diabetes and heart risk.
We're working up a sweat before coffee and saying no thanks to a Boston cream.
Jardiance is a once daily pill that can reduce the risk of cardiovascular death for adults who also have known heart disease. So it could help save your life from a heart attack or stroke. And Jardiance lowers A1C.
Jardiance can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, genital yeast or urination.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one with the bacterial infection of your taint. Don't do it.
Yeah. Listen, folks.
But I'm sorry, Jardiance could save your life.
It could save your life, or after it may or may not save your life. I'm going to go back a little bit. I want you guys to hear, it may lower A1Cs. Again, we're with the A1Cs. You see, everybody's worried about the A1Cs. By the way, you can go to VinnieTortorich.com, download my free PDF, and definitely lower your A1Cs. Zero side effect. Oh, there is one side effect. You'll lose a lot of fucking weight. I'm sorry. You're going to lose a lot of weight. You're going to feel healthier. You might have sex for the first time in years. Who knows? Because a lot of people tell me, hey, man, the doctor told me I was impotent. I lost 100 pounds. I'm fucking like a rabbit again. I'm 60 years old.
Oh, they just came out with a study that, and I should find it, that erectile dysfunction has been linked to excess glucose intake. They're finally talking about it.
Yeah. So, and who's been yelling about that for years? Because I do phone calls every single day, not every day, 5 days a week. I stopped doing them on the weekends a few years ago, but I used to do them every single day. 5 days a week, I talk to people. You can go to VinnieTortorich.com. You can set up a phone call. That's a whole different story. I have more men going, dude, look, I know you're a man. I know you don't want to hear them. As soon as I start hearing they get into a low voice like that, I know exactly where they're headed. They go,
right.
My wife thought I didn't love her anymore. I just couldn't get it up. I was empty. I tried to this. I would take the blue pill, this and that. And I was worried about the blue pill causing heart disease and the whole thing. I lost 120 pounds. And by the way, we're having sex again. It's a big deal, folks. It's a big deal. When you lose that, that's the one thing couples have. Men pride themselves on it, and you lose it, and it comes back. Let's go back and listen to these side effects again.
Jardiance lowers A1C.
Jardiance can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, genital yeast or urinary tract infections, and sudden kidney problems. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be fatal. A rare but life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. And don't take it if you're on dialysis. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Lower A1C and lower risk of a fatal heart attack?
We're on it.
We're on it with Jardiance.
Okay. Lower A1Cs and a lower risk of a heart attack, but you can die from ketoacidosis. They said twice in there at the end, hey, we're going to give you less of a chance of having a heart attack, but you could drop dead of this. It said twice in the second part of the set. See, people hear the first part, they show this beautiful woman, middle-aged. She's riding a stationary bike. Oh, my God, look at me. I'm riding a bike. Yeah. Okay, great. And then you hear all the things that can happen to that woman, and they go through the ketoacidosis thing not once but twice. I mean, folks, listen to these ads. These drugs are not making you healthy. Go watch movies like Dope Sick. That's a real, it's based on a real story of the Sackler family, who came up with a little smiley face, sad face, very, very sad face. So that people
I didn't know that.
Drugs. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. But as I was like starting to go to the doctor as an adult grown person is when they started using that thing.
Yeah. Point Anna. Yeah. Which one do you feel like?
And I remember being in labor because I didn't have any drugs when I gave birth. And I remember being like, fuck that chart.
And by the way, there's another movie. It's called Love and Other Drugs. Why is that movie?
Yeah.
Why is that movie?
Watch that one.
Yeah. It's one movie. You don't have to watch. The Dope Sick is 6-7 episodes. Love and Other Drugs, one movie. It's a love story with a story of the drug industry right in the middle of it.
You should just watch Dope Sick because it's a really amazing series, and Michael Keaton's awesome.
It is. When I saw Michael Keaton,
the whole cast is awesome.
Yeah. So go look.
That's a good show.
I mean, folks, I don't make this stuff up. I'm not that good. I can't make stuff up. So there you have it.
All right. Well,
Jardiance, Tagatose, Ozempic. It's all there.
It's happening. It's all happening. Hashtag it's all happening.
Yeah. So don't let it happen.
Buyer beware. You know what you can trust? You know what doesn't have Tagatose? Ozempic, Jardiance, Skyrizi, allulose, erythritol. Yeah, go ahead.
Villa Cappelli olive oil.
Yeah. You know, when we did our Instagram live, which by the way, if you guys like that, tweet at us and tell us, we'll do more live stuff, but we have to be encouraged.
Yeah. You got to beg us.
You got to beg us. There are a bunch more questions that we didn't even get to, but somebody asked, and this happens all the time. Hey, what kind of olive oil do you like that's not the Italian one that you talk about? And I'm like, we only use the Italian one that we talk about.
Yeah, when people say that to me, I get that on the phone calls too, Anna. They'll say to me, hey, I know you're into this Villa Cappelli. What else do you like? It's like, how about Villa Cappelli? You could save 10%, put my name in there, Vinnie, Vinnie. Look at that. You got
I have two of these because frankly, this is probably down to here.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I keep two of these on order. I'm holding the 3-liter tin for those of you not watching the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Villa Cappelli.
Just go get Villa Cappelli. Just do yourself a favor, you know. And look, I don't have to beg you to do it, but everyone asks me on the phone calls. It's like, hey, I know you with the Villa Cappelli, but what else? It shows up at your fucking doorstep. It shows up right at your house.
Here's the deal. I get your nut butters to my house. I get Villa Cappelli to my house. I get your coffee to my house. I get your vitamins to my house. I get my own sauces and spices to my house. Those are things that I don't have to deal with putting on the list because they just get delivered.
They awesome. Show up. So, they're there.
So get Villa Cappelli.
I get my Anna Vocino stuff showing up. It shows up right at the house. I get the sauces. I get the gravies.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my rub to come in. Waiting for my rub.
Your rub is imminent.
Yeah. I want Anna Vocino to send me some rub.
Let me tell you guys.
I'm going to rub it on me. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. I'm going to tell you guys, use the discount code Vinnie, VINNIE, to get 10% off your order. And the reason why we spell it every time is because, like in the IG Live, a lot of people were spelling your name with a wimpy Y, and we don't. That's not going to get you a discount.
You need to put IE at the end to get the wimpy Y.
VINNIE.
Yeah.
That's right.
So go check them out. Villa Cappelli. Let them know we sent you.
I literally want to eat this ranch directly out of the thing, and as soon as we're off camera, I'm going to do that because
I know you're going to hammer that. I know you are.
I gave him most of it, but then I had a little bit, and I even thought it'd be good to put a dollop of it on the.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah.
You know, this is the Midwest. You know that joke about the Midwest. You know how you get a girl to blow you in the Midwest?
Put ranch on her dick?
Yeah, just dip it in ranch. Yeah.
I'm telling you, this ranch is good.
That's how Kurt Lapierre does it.
Oh, that's how he got his wife.
Yeah, he dips it in ranch. I know he does.
Yeah.
I know he does. It doesn't take a lot for him. Just a drop covers it pretty good.
He's going to get so mad at you.
Yeah,
because he claims he needs a larger conch shell.
Well, he claims that there's a map that shows the states with the people with the biggest cocks.
Yeah. And he's obviously doctored it for North Dakota.
Yeah. He colored it in himself because it's so cold there. Everything is just sucked up.
He can't read and write, so he has to color.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how that works. So, folks, Anna Vocino has cookbooks out there. Don't ask me. Oh, I don't know what to cook. Go get Anna Vocino's book, Eat Happy 2. Get both of them. Just get them both at once. And then you'll go, well, I don't know. I want to have some ranch dressing. Anything out there is crap except for the one Anna's making because there's no seed oils. There's no high fructose corn syrup. It's fresh, delicious.
No anti-caking agents, no chemicals, no junk. Certified organic, which to me was important because a lot of herbs and spices have heavy metals in them.
Folks, there's nothing in it. You get just an empty packet. There's nothing in it. It's just yeah.
I send you a can of air. How about that?
It's the essence of ranch.
It's oh my god, the essence of ranch. Yeah. I'm gonna put out a ranch candle. It smells like ranch dressing. You light it. People would probably buy that.
Yeah. I'm sure Kurt Lapierre is working on one that smells like ranch in his cock.
I'm going to put out a pink crema candle and a ranch candle. By the way, nobody's taken our challenge yet to put all of our products in one dish.
Yeah. Let's see you do it, folks. Yeah, a guy, Tommy, will do it. He'll do it.
Tommy will do it.
Yeah. All right, so folks, check out Anna. Well, with me, you want to go to VinnieTortorich.com. Before you go to Amazon, Click through the banner, puts coal in the fire, gets my train down the track. Also, I have a super fan page. You can do that. I'm going to turn off this part of it.